February 13, 2020. The morning sun cast long shadows across the polished floors of Deltacore Financial's break room. The Fort Worth skyline glittered through the windows, still hazy in the early light. The room smelled of burnt coffee and artificial vanilla creamer. At 8:06 a.m., Diane Mercer's scream shattered the quiet morning routine. "Someone call 911. She's not breathing." The first responders found Marissa Foy, 44, collapsed on the cold tile floor, her ceramic coffee mug shattered beside her. A dark puddle spread across the floor, steam still rising from it. Her eyes were fixed open, lips tinged blue, fingers curled like claws against the tile. One shoe had come off in her fall, revealing a mismatched sock. Security guard Tom Wilkins was the first to reach her. "I heard the scream from the lobby. When I got here, she was already on the ground. Nobody else was in the room." By 8:23, paramedics had pronounced her dead on scene. By 8:25, Detective Ray Holloway was stepping under the yellow tape that now cordoned off the employee break room. "What we got?" Holloway asked, crouching beside the medical examiner. Dr. Emily Chen looked up from the body. "Preliminary assessment suggests acute poisoning. Almond smell on the breath. Cyanide, most likely. Won't know for certain until toxicology, but I'd bet my license on it." Holloway frowned. "Time of death?" "Based on body temperature and rigor, between 8 o'clock and 8:10 this morning." Chen pointed to the spilled coffee. "Likely ingested orally, through her drink. Fast acting." Holloway surveyed the room. Glass-fronted cabinets filled with mugs. A high-end coffee machine. A refrigerator humming in the corner. Sugar packets scattered on the counter. No cameras. Who found her? A uniformed officer consulted his notes. "Diane Mercer, 37, HR assistant. Says she came in for coffee and found the victim on the floor. Let's talk to security about access." Tom Wilkins nervously adjusted his tie as he sat across from Holloway in the makeshift interview room, actually a small conference room with windows overlooking the parking lot. Buildings got 24-hour security, but no cameras in the break rooms or bathrooms. Privacy concerns. Wilkins tapped his fingers on the table. "We have badge access logs for the main entrances and elevators, though." "Who was in the building this morning?" "Early birds start arriving around 7 o'clock. About 15 people were in before Ms. Foy collapsed. I've printed the access report." He slid a paper across the table. Holloway scanned the list. "Tell me about Marissa Foy." Wilkins shrugged. "Kept to herself. Always early, usually first in, around 6:45 or 7 o'clock. Brought her own mug every day." He paused. "White ceramic thing with faded letters. Used to say, 'Ask me if I care,' but it's worn off mostly. She'd make her coffee and go straight to her desk." "Friends in the office?" "None that I noticed. She wasn't friendly. Not mean, just watching. Always watching, never talking much." "Enemies?" Wilkins hesitated. "Look, I just watched the door, detective." Holloway leaned forward. "But?" "People avoided her. Said she gave them the creeps. Like she was cataloging them or something." By mid-afternoon, Holloway had interviewed 12 employees. The picture remained consistent. Marissa Foy worked in compliance. Always early. Ate lunch alone. Never smiled. Nobody claimed to know her well. "She once corrected my expense report over 27 cents, said Brad Foster from accounting. Sent me 3 separate emails about it." "Who does that?" "She kept notes on everything," added Jessica Lang, another compliance officer. "Always writing in that black notebook of hers." "Notebook?" Holloway asked. "Leather-bound thing. Never went anywhere without it." Holloway found forensics technician Marcus Webb cataloging items from Marissa's desk. Anything interesting? Webb held up an evidence bag containing a thick black leather-bound notebook. Found this locked in her desk drawer. You're gonna want to see it. Back at the station, Holloway carefully turned the pages. The notebook was meticulously organized by name, date, and behavior. Every employee in the building appeared to have their own section. February 3rd, Brad from accounting took 1.5-hour lunch breaks 3 times this week. Claimed doctor appointments. Saw him at Oakwood Mall with blonde from marketing. Both married. -1. January 22nd, Jessica approved expense report with alcohol charges listed as client dinner. Company policy violation. Pointed it out. She rolled her eyes when she thought I wasn't looking. -1. December 10th, security guard Tom helped me with heavy box without being asked. +1. Each entry ended with a number, +1, -1, or 0, hundreds of entries spanning months. Holloway flipped to the final page and found a heading in bold. HR won't fix it. I will. Christ, he muttered. Detective Sarah Miller, Holloway's partner, entered with a file. Toxicology confirmed cyanide poisoning. Concentrated dose in the coffee. Would have acted within minutes. Our victim was keeping score, Holloway said, gesturing to the notebook. Miller peered at the pages. Creepy. Or desperate, Holloway countered. Talk to HR. See if she filed any complaints. The next morning, Miller entered their shared office, eyes wide. 3 weeks before her death, Marissa submitted an anonymous ethics complaint. Harassment, favoritism, falsified performance reviews, the works. Against who? Executive VP, Martin Leach. But here's the kicker, the complaint mysteriously disappeared. HR claims it was never received. Convenient. Gets better. Leach has a reputation. Inappropriate jokes, shoulder-touching, promotions to favorites, mostly young female employees. 2 previous complaints were filed then withdrawn. Let's have a chat with Mr. Leach. Martin Leach, 51, looked exactly as Holloway expected, expensive suit, perfect hair, forced smile that didn't reach his eyes. They met in Deltacor's executive conference room, wood-paneled with city views. Terrible tragedy, Leach said, shaking his head. Just terrible. You knew Ms. Foy? Holloway asked. Not well. Compliance people tend to keep to themselves. We understand there was an ethics complaint filed against you. Leach's smile faltered. That's the first I'm hearing of it. Really? Because HR says they told you about it 3 weeks ago. Must be a miscommunication. The complaint disappeared. Leach spread his hands. I can't explain that. Where were you yesterday morning? I arrived around 7:30, went straight to my office for a conference call. Security logs show 7:41, Miller corrected. Then that's when it was. Leach's jaw tightened. Look, Marissa was always looking for problems. That's the compliance mindset, find fault in everything. Honestly, she probably poisoned herself for attention. Miller's eyebrows shot up. That's an interesting theory. I just meant. Where did you go after arriving? Holloway interrupted. Straight to my office. Did you stop by the break room? No. Sure about that? Absolutely. Back at the station, Miller pored over security footage. I've got Leach entering the building at 7:41 a.m. He doesn't go straight to his office. He takes the elevator to the 3rd floor, where the break room is, and disappears down the hallway. Where cameras don't cover, Holloway nodded. What about Marissa? Building entry at 7:02 a.m. Goes to her desk first, then to the break room at 7:15. Returns to her desk at 7:20. So her coffee was sitting in the break room unattended. Perfect opportunity for someone to add something to it. The next day brought a breakthrough. Digital forensics pulled this from the server, Miller said, sliding a printout across the desk. Email scheduled to send at 8:10 a.m. yesterday, 4 minutes after Marissa collapsed. Holloway examined it. No subject line. No body text. Just an attachment, a scanned image of her notebook's cover. And one sentence in the file name, "This is what happens when no one listens." She knew, Holloway said quietly. She knew someone was going to poison her. Or she did it herself, like Leach suggested. Let's follow the evidence. What about the mug? Processed for prints. Mostly hers, a few partials from others, could be from previous days. The sugar packets? Miller smiled. That's our home run. Packets on the counter had Leach's fingerprints, though he claimed he never touched them. Let's bring him in. In the interrogation room, Leach maintained his composure. I misspoke earlier. I did stop by the break room briefly. Forgot about it. And the sugar packets? I make coffee there sometimes. Not yesterday, but recently. We've got you on camera entering that floor at 7:41. Marissa's already made her coffee. You go to the break room. 25 minutes later, she's dead from poison in that coffee. Circumstantial. Your fingerprints on sugar packets from that morning. I told you. We know about the ethics complaint, Martin. We know it threatened your position. 3 promotions to women who later transferred out of your department. 2 settled harassment claims hushed up by the company. You can't prove anything. Maybe not yet. But we're getting a warrant for your home, your office, your computer. That scheduled email, she knew someone was after her. And I think she left evidence we haven't found yet. After Leach left with his lawyer, Miller looked defeated. He's right. It's all circumstantial. DA won't touch it without more. Keep digging. Check Marissa's home computer, her phone records. She was meticulous, she wouldn't leave this to chance. But the trail went cold. Leach resigned days later, taking a position with a competitor in Chicago. Never charged. The investigation stalled. The mug was destroyed after testing. The break room was remodeled. Deltacor issued a statement about tragic accidents and improved safety protocols. 6 months later, Holloway was still haunted by the case. He met Tom Wilkins, the security guard, for coffee. Wilkins had quit Deltacor 2 months after Marissa's death. Something wasn't right there, Wilkins said, stirring his coffee nervously. After you all left, things got weird. People started finding printouts of their entries from her notebook. Anonymous emails. Little reminders. What kind of reminders? Jessica, the one who rolled her eyes at Marissa, found a sticky note on her computer that just said -1. Brad from accounting got an anonymous email with a photo of him at the mall with that marketing woman. Both got passed over for promotions. Someone's carrying on Marissa's work. Wilkins shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe it's just guilt making people paranoid. But I'll tell you something strange, several employees say their entries from the notebook matched things they thought were private. Whispered phone calls, fleeting glances. Things nobody could have known. Security cameras. Not everywhere. Not in places where these conversations happened. Wilkins leaned forward. It's like she had eyes everywhere. Or accomplices, Holloway suggested. Maybe. But here's the creepiest part. Once a year, on February 13th, someone leaves a single sugar packet on the break room table. Unopened. Labeled with a marker, +0. Neutral score. Exactly. Not good, not bad. Just, watching. Any idea who's doing it? No cameras in the break room, remember? Privacy concerns. Wilkins smiled grimly. Convenient, isn't it? Holloway pulled out his notebook, a brown leather one, nothing like Marissa's. I followed up on Leach. He's thriving at his new company. 2 secretaries have already quit. Justice system at work. Sometimes the system fails. Holloway sipped his coffee. But I keep thinking about that email. This is what happens when no one listens. It wasn't just about her death. It was a message. To who? Everyone. The whole company. Maybe she knew she couldn't get justice through normal channels. So she created her own system. You think she poisoned herself? I think she wanted someone blamed. Whether they did it or not. Holloway tapped his notebook. The +1 and -1 scores. She was judging them. Deciding who deserved punishment. That's dark, detective. Is it? Or is it desperate? When systems fail, people create their own justice. A year later, Martin Leach was found dead in his Chicago apartment. Heart attack, the coroner ruled. Natural causes. No investigation. But on his desk sat a single sugar packet. Unopened. Labeled, -1. Holloway keeps the case file in his drawer. Sometimes, late at night, he pulls it out. Studies the photos. Reads the transcript of Leach's interview. Wonders about the sugar packets. The break room at Deltacore has been renovated twice since that day. New coffee machine. New cabinets. New tables. But employees say that every year, on February 13th, a sugar packet appears. Unopened. Labeled, +0. As if someone is still watching. Still keeping score. And no one touches the sugar anymore.